A pale corridor, washed in hospital light and haunted by cries too fragile to echo. In the one place meant to protect life, unimaginable tragedy unfolded, leaving families asking, when safety becomes illusion, who will speak for the lost? This is the dark truth. What if a miracle worker could be a silent monster? What if justice's journey for truth becomes a desperate fight against silence, bureaucracy, and pain? Before you judge, ask yourself, what would you do if trust was shattered beyond repair? Subscribe, join the dark truth, and let's follow every fragment of evidence, lighting the way through the darkest mystery modern medicine has ever faced. Lucy Letby was not a headline. She was a human. Born in Hereford in 1990, Letby's childhood was unremarkable, surrounded by loving parents and friends. Teachers described her as gentle, reserved, empathetic. She became a neonatal nurse at the Countess of Chester Hospital, a job demanding compassion for the weakest and most vulnerable. Colleagues and families believed in her, entrusting her with tiny lives clinging to hope. But in June 2015, that hope began to fracture. Within weeks, a spike in unexplained baby deaths and sudden collapses rattled staff. The hospital averaged roughly 2 to 3 deaths a year. Now 3 infants died in just 14 days, an unprecedented and chilling statistic. Doctors started connecting dots no one wanted to see. These tragedies occurred during Letby's shifts. Alarmed consultants pleaded for help. Dr. Stephen Brary and colleagues noticed Letby's presence each time disaster struck. The neonatology unit's leader warned the hospital's NHS Foundation Trust Committee, yet initial reviews chalked the deaths up to medication errors or sad coincidence. Some doctors wanted an external investigation. Instead, they were told to apologize to Lucy Letby and not to make her uncomfortable. But across summer and autumn, more babies died. Twins and healthy newborns collapsed without explanation. Families lost children within hours of birth. In one case, baby D suffered 3 collapses in a single night, despite responsive care and no warnings of deterioration. With Letby on duty, the baby turned lifeless, her skin marked by strange brown and black discoloration. Staff were haunted by the horror of resuscitations that failed, of medicine unable to explain the darkness. Internal reviews found a common thread. Letby was there for almost every catastrophic event. Yet bureaucracy, reputational fears, and a desire to avoid escalation led to inactivity. It would take 2 more years before police were called in. Parents faced unthinkable grief. Some were told their baby's death was natural, only to discover later that it was suspicious. Medical records showed abnormal blood results, insulin poisoning, air embolisms, deaths by internal bleeding. Some babies' stomachs were found filled with air or excess milk. Others died within hours of apparent recovery. Baby A and baby B, twins under Letby's supervision. A died from an air embolism. B survived a sudden heart rate drop. Baby C, premature, died following an alleged air injection through a nasogastric tube. Baby D, full term, lost within 36 hours. Baby E and baby F, twin incidents, loss by bleeding and a near-fatal insulin injection. Baby G survived Letby's attempt but left quadriplegic, requiring lifelong care. Each loss destroyed a family, scattering joy into heartbreak and confusion. Some were comforted by Letby, never suspecting her involvement, while others felt a growing unease, haunted by the inexplicable timing of collapses. Dr. Brary and the consultant team pressed harder. By February 2016, 10 deaths had occurred under Letby's watch, but urgent requests for meetings were ignored for months. When hospital management was finally confronted, they deflected responsibility and reassigned Letby to non-clinical roles. The tragic irony, she was only removed after the deaths of 2 triplet infants on consecutive days. Whistleblowers faced retaliation, career threats, isolation, and at times gaslighting from superiors. Some consultants received support only after the case broke nationally years later. Internal NHS surveys now show that most doctors fear for their careers when raising patient safety concerns. Meanwhile, tragedies continued in the ward, and more non-fatal collapses were attributed to air injections and insulin overdoses, each later proven by abnormal medical findings and expert testimony at trial. May 2018, Cheshire Police finally launch an investigation examining 17 deaths and 15 non-fatal collapses between 2015 and 2016. Letby's house, parents' home, and the hospital's Risk and Patient Safety Office are searched. July 2018. Letby is arrested at her Chester home. The scope of the investigation grows, with probes extending to nearby hospitals but finding no further harm. June 2019 and November 2020, Letby is repeatedly rearrested.
Hello, Lucy, is it?
Yes.
Hello, my name's Chester, please. Okay, step in 2 seconds.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. Not a problem.
It takes painstaking examination of records, shift patterns, communications, and forensic medical data to build a case. By late 2020, Letby faces charges of murder and attempted murder. Denied bail, she awaits trial. October 2022. The trial begins at Manchester Crown Court. Letby pleads not guilty to 7 counts of murder and 15 counts of attempted murder, all relating to 10 babies.
Of your offences is exceptionally high. I direct that the early release provisions do not apply. The order of the court, therefore, is a whole life order on each and every offence, and you will spend the rest of your life in prison.
The court is filled with grieving families, a legion of media, and the echoes of every lost life. The prosecution's evidence is harrowing. Nursing handover sheets removed from the hospital. Handwritten notes by Letby. I am evil. I did this. Social media searches for bereaved families. Abnormal blood results matching air and insulin poisoning. Inconsistencies in Letby's records and testimonies. Calm presence at each tragedy, even sending sympathy cards to parents whose babies she murdered. Expert witnesses mapped the medical anomalies, showing how Letby's actions matched each unexplained event. Families testify to their devastation. Some had trusted Letby with their child's final moments. August 2023. After 9 months, the verdict is read. 7 counts of murder, multiple counts of attempted murder. Letby is sentenced to whole life imprisonment. She will never be released. Letby's conviction sparks public outrage, but also deep reflection on the systemic failings that allowed her crimes. The hospital management faces criticism and legal consequences, with several executives arrested for alleged gross negligence manslaughter for ignoring doctors' warnings. A statutory public inquiry is commissioned to examine not just Letby's crimes, but hospital culture, whistleblowing failures, and risk management. Begun in September 2024, its findings will shape British healthcare for years. Even now, debate rages. Some experts, citing fresh evidence and the complex nature of medical testimony, petition for Letby's appeal, arguing wrongful conviction risks amid forensic ambiguity. Applications to the Criminal Cases Review Commission continue. Yet survivors, families, medical staff, and millions more demand accountability and protection against future horrors. The Countess of Chester Hospital is forever altered, trust broken, but vigilance renewed. Survivors and families live in the shadow of irreparable loss, some children facing lifelong consequences. Whistleblower doctors have become national advocates for reform, pressing for mandatory protections and transparency in healthcare. Lucy Letby's name now stands as caution and challenge. Was she a calculating predator hiding in plain sight, or did a broken system fail both its patients and its staff? As the dark truth, our mission is not just to recount tragedy, but to demand answers, so no family ever faces such silence again. In every hospital, hope and terror walk side by side. Who speaks when trust is shattered? Who acts as the silence grows? Letby's conviction is not the end, but a warning. The fight for truth goes beyond verdicts. Justice demands vigilance from all who care. Subscribe to The Dark Truth. Join us to keep these stories alive, and never let silence be the last word. For families, survivors, and whistleblowers, you are not alone, and we will keep asking the questions the world needs to answer.